want to make any more of these videos. I just wanted to shut up and just do my job. But when politicians continue to harm our patients and harm us and harm our hospitals and harm our communities, then we have a moral obligation to speak up. And while it was desperately important that we got the last government out of power because the conservatives are absolutely a threat to public health and responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people, not just from COVID, but from the undermining of our health system, of defunding it, of starting fights with NHS staff, forcing so many people to leave the profession, taking away all of our hospital beds and then failing to fix social care, and then giving billions of pounds in contracts to the private sector, draining the NHS of resources. You can bet that we are absolutely furious about the way that government treats our NHS, and that we are not going to put up with this for any longer. It doesn't matter if we have a Labour government, and we are not going to put up with politicians making decisions that are harming our patients when we know better. And so I don't understand why Wes Streeting last week went to a meeting of NHS CEOs and told them that there's going to be no more money for the NHS, as if we can afford to continue to cut more fat. There's no more fat to cut. Until and unless we restore the funding black hole that was created by the Tories, £400 billion in funding that was lost over the last decade. Until we restore that, we are not going to fix your healthcare. You are going to be waiting, suffering on the longest waiting list in NHS history, being held hostage by the government of Austerity 1.0, that's the Conservatives, and the government of Austerity 2.0, the Labour Party now, who want to slowly emerge from this crisis while giving every single opportunity for the private sector to just gobble up every bit of the NHS that they can. So now is not the time to just let them do that. Politicians say a lot of words, but they're always meaningless. To Wes Streeting and to the Labour Party, if you want us to trust you with what you're saying, then deliver it in the budget. Understand that we are in the greatest crisis the NHS has ever faced unless we start funding it properly. And if that means asking wealthy people to pay just a tiny bit more, then that's okay. Because right now, if you refuse to do that, when there are multiple options to increase the budgets for public services, multiple options, and you refuse to do that, then you are siding with the private sector, you're siding with big business, you're siding with corporations against people, against patients. And I'm sorry, after the last 10 years that we've been through, we're not putting up with that for a second longer. The era of politicians ignoring health experts is over. The era of politicians choosing to side with big business over patients, over healthcare, over what is the best decisions for public finances is over. Treat this emergency with the severity and the seriousness that it requires. If there were 500 patients that are dying every single week in this country from delays accessing NHS emergency care, then fix it. If social care is a mess, then fix it. If record numbers of patients are dying prematurely from cancer that we can treat, then fix it. If far too many children are suffering on the longest waiting lists for ADHD and autism assessments, then fix it. Now, not next year, now. Ask the wealthy to pay just a little bit more so that we have a stable, functioning, healthy society. And I don't think anybody should ask for anything less. So Labour, here's a warning. If you don't fund the NHS properly in the next budget, if you don't fix our public services in the next budget, and you have a month to figure this out, then we're going to make it very hard for you politically moving forward. Because we are on the side of patients, we are on the side of our communities, on the side of our local hospitals, and you will be demonstrating by making a decision not to fund our public services, to stand against us, to stand against our communities, to stand against our patients. So which side are you on? You have a month to prove it to us. Bye.